Hey everybody, welcome to the MMA Heat podcast. I'm Karyn Bryant.
What's up guys, Jouban here.
Okay, so listen folks, as we know, Alan just got back from London. He had a fight with Gunnar Nelson. Didn't go your way.
Didn't go my way. That's, I'm not as down as I am sometimes at the fights. I will never lose a fight and be like, whatever, let's go to the bar. I always take everything very seriously, but this fight was different, man. Gunnar's a very respectful guy, and so I wanted to give him his credit right away. It wasn't like that we had a bad beef and I got knocked unconscious. Mm-hmm. We were very respectful. Before the fight, we had a good fight. He made the better moves that night. He won the fight. Afterward, we had a beer. We spoke. So it's always nicer to know that, if I'm going to lose, at least I lost to somebody who's a very good athlete and individual. Mm-hmm. So it made it a little bit better. But just London itself was such an incredible experience. I had never been. You'd been before,
I've been a long time ago.
Yeah, I had never been. I brought my entire team. We did so much shit in London. I mean, we would.
You posted so many pictures of you having a great time.
We did so many things. We were going like 5 or 6 miles a day of just hitting London Bridge, Big Ben Tower, doing all different types of things. We had a friend. The Beatles had an album called Abbey Road, which is kind of a famous picture of them walking.
Yeah. You almost got clipped.
Almost got clipped by a bicycle. We had a friend, my trainer, Taylor Ramsdale, trained someone who is actually producing some music at the studio at the time. So we go there, and it's like you can't even enter the property. And we had a VIP tour of the entire studios. We got to see all these rooms and studios where the Beatles produce their albums, and like old pianos and stuff that were played by certain people. So we had a phenomenal time, and it was a phenomenal trip. So yes, it would have been icing on the cake to get the victory. But it was just such a great experience, and then talking to the UFC, they were really happy with me, which I had no idea. Sean Shelby, the matchmaker of the UFC, kept telling me, "Thank you for taking this fight. Thank you for taking this fight. This does us a big favor." Right. And I'm like, "Wait, thank you." Yeah, like we've been asking. I've been talking on MMA,
calling out a top 10 guy for ages.
Yeah, I've been trying to get a top 10 fight forever, and he was thanking me for taking it. So
okay, so we got a lot to talk about. I want to hear a lot about Sean, but since this is after a fight, win or lose, you know that we love you, we celebrate you, we have to do it. So I'm
not angry.
I know.
I'm not angry drunk either.
Yeah. Why don't you do it here? Because I'll put an eye out or something.
I was a bartender for quite a while.
Were you? Okay, that's good. Uh oh. Here we go.
This worked. This is the silent way.
Yeah.
Just a
quiet little.
A silent fart. It should be like a silent fart.
Oh my God. Here you go.
Oh, let's see how I was gonna go.
Oh yeah, he was going for it.
Here we are.
And I always go for maximum sound.
I know. I'm sorry the MMA Heat budget doesn't have we don't have Cristal and all that. But we do what we can. But Wade did go and get you some cookies. I checked with the missus and I said, hey, what's Alan's favorite comfort food or cheap food or anything? And she told me soft baked chocolate chip cookies.
All day. I will take some chewy chocolate chip cookies over Cristal any day. So
nice. So Wade went down and hustled up and got that for you. We just obviously think the world of you. We think you're just awesome, and we know you're going to come back better than ever.
I appreciate the support, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, cheers.
Good to be back.
Okay, so let's hear it. I feel like I want to let this kick in a little bit before we hear the story. But basically, if Sean Shelby comes up to you and says, Alan, thank you so much for doing us a solid, man. You really came through for us. Immediately, that makes me think, well, who said no?
Right. You're exactly on point, Karyn. That's what it was. For me, it was like, I was kind of shocked because it was good, first off, to get a good rapport with Sean Shelby because Joe Silva was who I always dealt with. And so Sean Shelby, we knew each other, but we never really spoke too much. And for him to come up and just right away, like, Alan, man, thank you so much. Like, this and that, it kind of threw me off. I was glad that we got to catch up, but why was he so thankful when I'd been begging for this? So it turns out that after the fight, I was able to go, I will, definitely. After the fight, I was able to go to the bar. Gunnar came up and we had a really pleasant conversation, just kind of talking about strategies and game planning, and you could tell that there was respect amongst us, and we were it was a good conversation. We had a beer and spoke, and but he was like, Gunnar replayed, kind of reset the same thing. He was like, man, thank you for taking this fight. I was like, why are you saying that? Why is everybody saying that? He goes, you were the 5th person.
Oh my God.
I was the 5th person that they tried to get to take this fight, and finally I accepted. I accepted right away. But finally someone accepted. And so that kind of blew my mind, man, that it kind of was encouraging in a way to know that, you know what, like I took it in a heartbeat, but a lot of other fighters weren't. And I don't know who all the other fighters were. I think he said Mazalov might have been one of them, and then maybe Stun Gun or
Magny maybe.
Or Magny might have been another one. So he named a couple guys that said it didn't make sense for them or they didn't want the fight. All pretty tough.
Losing doesn't make sense to me at this point, so I'm going to pass.
Yeah, so it was good to know that a lot of fighters saw Gunnar as a very tricky or maybe not a very smart business move opponent in their eyes. Or, you know, they just didn't want to. They didn't want to have to deal with his diversity. He was a guy, obviously, that I wanted to step up to. I knew it was a step up in game because he's very well rounded.
Yep.
But it was something that I said yes to right away.
Of course.
And I always would. So that was kind of an encouraging thing to know that I was kind of, in my mind, they were doing me a favor. I'm getting a number 9 opponent. In the UFC's mind, and the Gunnar's mind, I was doing them a favor because nobody wanted to take this fight.
I think that's awesome, and I just, before we go any further, yes, you need to start eating cookies, but I'm not trying to imply that any of those other fighters are scared or anything like that. When I'm joking when I say a loss is not convenient for me right now, but it's true. Everybody knows that Gunnar is so dangerous, and the potential to lose is already there and always there, and when somebody like Jorge Masvidal is doing so well and kicking a lot of butt right now and trying to climb his way up, I can see why he would say no to somebody as threatening and dangerous as Gunnar Nelson, for sure.
I think the more I thought about it, Jorge ended up taking a fight with Damian Maia. And so I was like, well, why would he
beat Gunnar, obviously. So.
Right. So in Jorge's mind, he's probably thinking, if I'm riding this momentum train, if I'm going to fight a super dangerous fight like a Gunnar or a Damian Maia, it might as well be the number 2 or 3 guy in Damian Maia, where a win gets me a title shot.
Exactly.
Not a number 9 guy like Gunnar, who's equally as dangerous, but a win still puts me maybe 1 or 2 fights away. So I see why Jorge might have turned it down. Wasn't a smart business move, but it just lets you know that a lot of guys weren't eager to step up and fight Gunnar.
For sure, and in a way, it's almost like killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I know MMA math is not a real thing, but if Masvidal beats Damian, it's implied he could have beaten Gunnar too. Not really, but you know what I mean, totally different. Because Damian is obviously much more of a strong jiu-jitsu fighter, and Gunnar is more well-rounded in the striking department with the karate. But, anyway, never implying that anybody's chicken, but at the same time, 5 people turned him down. The Gardner's here, by the way. Perfect timing. How you doing? But the implication is that a lot of people know how dangerous he is, and you went in there, and like you said, so we do want to get into actually sort of talking about the fight and what happened in it. I'm not gonna lie. The first round, when you were on the canvas, you were on your back. I was like, this is not a great place to be. But you weathered the storm. And so how much of that, I mean, obviously you knew that was going to be something that could happen. Gunnar's a great grappler. So what were you thinking during that first round when he had you down?
I was to be on the mat with Gunnar in mount, that's worst case scenario. And the thing about that is I trained worst case scenario this entire camp. So I wasn't that thrown off. I mean, every wrestling class that we ended or jiu-jitsu class that we ended at Black House, we would finish the class with 15 minutes of worst case scenario. So I had a black belt on the mount or I had a black belt on my back. So when I got in that position, I felt very comfortable. And if you kind of watch the tape, Gunnar did a great job of controlling me. But at the same time, I countered it did a great job of, in 2 minutes of the mount, he maybe landed, I think, 1 elbow.
I was going to say, you were evasive enough that he wasn't able to really damage you.
I could hear his corner saying, set up the arm triangle. I was able to kind of be 1 step ahead of him before securing any of those. So going back to the corner, he must have felt good that, he secured that round very, very dominantly in a way that he was on half of the round, he was in a mount position. In the same sense, I went back to the corner thinking, I was just in a worst case scenario, Gunnar in the mount, and he really didn't do anything to me. So if I do end up there again, I don't have to be too much to be afraid of. I can weather, his strongest point being the grappling. Obviously, he did submit me, which was his game plan all along, but he did so because I was kind of rocked at the time. So, man, I mean, he fought a great fight, but I felt like, man, if man, so many things could have been differently. But if I hadn't have got kind of rocked at the moment and him capitalized, I would have been able to fight off his submission with my defense. I felt very, very prepared for this fight. It's just when you're kind of rocked, it's hard to really know what's going on at the time.
Right. So let's talk about that, because when I watched the fight, it seemed like a delayed reaction to that punch. So he got you with the punch, and you were like, I'm good, I'm not good, and you got a little wobbly, and then he was able to land the kick, and then go for the choke. But how bad was that punch? Did you think it was as bad as it was? I mean, you were saying before we started filming, like when you watch the replay, you're like, wait, that got me?
How did that hurt me? Yeah, it's not always the power of the punch, but it's the ones that you don't necessarily see coming. And even though that one came straight at me, that's why I always tell my students this. I tell my students when I teach Muay Thai, don't punch with your elbow out. Think that you're fighting in a narrow hallway.
Like in a phone booth, old school phone booth, right?
Because if you're looking straight at me, it's easier to see this coming when you see elbow, forearm, shoulder, and going the long way. It's a lot harder to see something coming straight at you, a small object like this. So that's what he did very well. He caught me switching stances, and he threw a straight right hand right down the pipe, and I just didn't see it coming. It's just boom, the fist was in my face before I knew it. It kind of shook me. And I thought I was fine. I continued to look at him, but my feet weren't there.
Right.
He capitalized on it beautifully and got the choke.
And you said that's because you were switching stance at the time too. So he timed it to where you weren't even firmly planted on the ground, right?
Exactly. I didn't have my feet under me. He caught me when I was going back from orthodox to southpaw. Caught me with a straight right hand, like right between the eyes, I think. And like I said, it didn't even hurt. I didn't even feel it. It just, my feet weren't working properly after it because I wasn't planted. And the last thing was the choke, the guillotine. Yeah. I was so pissed. I was telling Gunnar at the bar, like, man, I'm not a guy that
You've never tapped before.
I never tap easily in training. Like, I will let you put me to sleep. I will start having the walls close in training before I tap. But the thing that you can't really fight is, and I'm claustrophobic, but this has nothing to do, but is air. Like, you could fight a blood choke. You could fight a crank because it's painful, but you could fight it. When you have you can fight a blood choke until you run out of blood. But what I'm saying, when the walls are closing in, you have about 8 seconds or so. But when you have no air in your lungs, you kind of freak out. And what happened was he rocked me. He kind of went for the head kick. I think I kind of blocked it or deflected it. He snatched me down. He threw in the guillotine right away. As soon as he threw in the guillotine, I just exhaled. And I was trying to get my brain back together. And I just exhaled. So it was kind of like coming out of water, gasping for air, but there being no air. And so right away, he had his guillotine across my throat. I couldn't breathe. And then he went to readjust. I think I swept him, or I rolled him from into the mount or whatever. He got into the mount. I kind of rolled over. And right there, he let go to readjust. And when he went to readjust, I tried to take a big breath of air again, and then he clamped it in. At that point, I just had no air in my lungs, and my lungs were screaming. And so I tapped right away. And I didn't remember all of that quite at the time. I just remember not being able to breathe. But rewatching it, seeing how fast I tapped, I was like, oh, that's embarrassing, because I would have, if I could have just had a half of a breath, I would have been able to kind of hold my breath, fight it, get the guillotine defense working. He would have been a mount. I would have recovered. The fight could have continued. But he did a great job of capitalizing on the timing of his guillotine in between my breaths. And that's why I ended up tapping. If it seemed kind of sudden, that's why I didn't have any air in my lungs at the moment.
No apologies. No, I'm just saying, no apologies, no embarrassment. Oh, I tapped to the number 9 fighter in the world in the co-main event on freaking UFC. You got, dude. I mean, and I know that you're okay with this. I know you're okay with this, but good Lord, no shame in that. If you can't breathe, you just can't breathe.
If you only didn't need oxygen.
God damn it, you can't breathe out of your butt yet? Yeah. Come on, evolve, Alan, evolve.
I had to if I'd have waited any longer. I would have been breathing.
Oh, we were joking. I love my boy Dominic, but I guess a couple weeks ago when I was working with Kenny and stuff, Dominic was calling a fight, and he said so and so will strike you with any orifice, and I think he meant any weapon or whatever. But he said any orifice.
What's that?
It's an opening. It's a hole. So plus it's hard. I love Dominic, but we were all like, that ear strike is bananas, and we were going around at work and
the butthole
watch out for the butthole strike. But if you could evolve to breathe out of your ears or butt, Alan, I'm saying next level. I'm just a forward thinker outside the box here.
Well, after this loss, I'm more motivated than ever. So maybe I will go and try to do some blood breathing. I'm sure I do some butt breathing at nighttime when I'm asleep that I'm unaware of. But,
everybody does. It's a dirty little secret of marriage that everybody butt breathes at night. Our daughter now, she's hip to like the Dutch oven, and I was like, wait, how do you even know what that is?
How did Aurora?
She knows. She did called it something else. I was like, no, that's the Dutch oven. Exactly. I mean, yeah. So,
back to the fight.
Back to the fight. I want to ask you, because you take this like a real champ. Did you feel good though going in? It's not like I'm asking you, hey, for any excuse or anything, but like, what was your day like? You know, we saw the last time before you fought Mike, they released that footage of you guys behind, with the curtain, and you could hear
Very
it. Like,
intense.
what was your experience like for this, a co-main event, a big deal fight for you? You know, how in hindsight you can assess yourself. Did you feel different than other fights? Was it anything better or worse in this situation?
This was the best Alan Jouban. Credit to Gunnar, man. I felt amazing. You know, you always kind of second guess yourself when you have maybe less nerves than normal. I had a lot less nerves than normal, and it had me questioning, man, why am I not nervous? You know, it's not good. It's good to have a little bit.
Bit.
You use those nerves to channel your adrenaline and keep you on your toes. When you don't have any nerves, they always say it's a bad thing. I had nerves. I was nervous. But it wasn't as intense as the Mike Perry fight. But I wrote it off because you know what? It was the best Alan Jouban going into that fight because you evolve in everything in life. You know what I mean? You evolve. You write down your goals. You accomplish those goals. You get bigger ones. Some things motivate you. Some songs. You know how long? I love my song. I love Gangsta's Paradise.
Yeah, but
I can't hear that song anymore and be like, it's go time. I think about, shit, I'm nervous again. I'm walking out for the fight. Sometimes so what I'm getting at is I hear new songs every 3 months and I'm like, oh, damn, if I came out to this song, I'd be jamming this song. But I don't want to change my song because I love that song. So new things motivate you, new things inspire you. You are always evolving as a human, as a fighter. And whenever I feel differently for a fight, I have a little bit less nerves. Well, you know what? So what? This is my 20th professional fight now. I've been doing this. I've been in the fight game for 10 years. I've been in the UFC for 3 years. I should be getting less nervous because this is my job. This is my career. I've been fighting every 3 or 4 months for 6 years as a professional. So you do change. You do evolve. And that's what I do. I just always try to trust in my instinct that, you know what? Okay, maybe I'm less nervous than I was for the Mike Perry fight. But me and Mike Perry had beef. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, there was more of an emotional investment in that fight.
Absolutely.
Right?
This fight, me and Gunnar, as soon as I arrived to the hotel at like midnight, Gunnar comes out of the elevator and shakes my hand and he goes, how was your fight? How was your flight? I said, oh, not bad, 10 hours. How about you? He goes, 1 hour. I was like, cool, man, well, I'll see you at breakfast. I was like, well, that went down differently than my previous fight. So less nerves, less emotions involved. So I was, what I'm getting at though, my warm-up felt great. I know it sounds weird, but as a kicker, as a Muay, not to say Muay Thai, but I do a lot of Muay Thai. When my hips feel good, when I feel flexible, when I feel light and sharp on my feet, quick on my feet, I feel confident. And during my warm-up, that's how I felt. I remember like when I do, I do high kicks, standing high kicks to kind of get warmed up. And normally I can go almost, let's see.
Almost 180 degrees.
Almost, exactly, almost straight up.
Nice.
That's usually what I do. It's just, but I remember I was doing like splits, standing splits. I was kicking over my head, and I remember my strength and conditioning coach, Taylor, going, you're ready, dude, you're ready. Like,
you're good, you're gonna go.
Sharp. So, yes, I looked sharp, I felt sharp. I had a lot less nerves than normal, but it wasn't a factor. I got into the octagon thinking, okay, I just got locked in a cage. I'm standing across the guy, and we're about to freaking beat the crap out of each other. But this is my job. This is what I do. There's 20,000 people. This is what I do for a living. Let's do this. And then I got in there, and he just was the better man. That's all it was.
Well, and I really appreciate that because a lot of times some guys, after the fact of, oh, this was wrong, that was wrong. And I love that you feel confident in the training that you had, and I love that you felt 100% ready for that. And everything you did leading up to it, like I never felt, when we would do the show or you were telling me how camp is going, I never felt like after you left, like, oh, he's totally BSing. Like, you know what I mean? I never felt that you were scared. I felt like you recognized what this could mean, and I feel like you recognized the moment, but I didn't ever feel like you were not feeling confident or not feeling ready about it, and that you knew it's going to be a challenge, but you got you were ready.
My coach Kenny Johnson, he I'm gonna tell you 2 quick stories about him. He told me after this fight, in all the years he's been in professional sports, by the way, he was a Olympic alternate 7 times, and I'll get into that in a second, but Kenny Johnson's been competing his entire life as a wrestler. He's been competing as a coaching for quite a while. I mean, everybody you can think of. He's got Paul Daly. He's been working with for years.
He does all the Black House guys, but in addition to
Leo
a bunch of
Machida,
other
Silva,
people. Right.
He's seen the highs, the lowest lows. He's competed at every level. He's coached at every level. He told me after this fight that he has never seen such a focused and complete camp on my part going into this. He said that he's like, dude, you didn't miss one training session. Everything that we said, you need to go and train with Lyoto Machida. You need to go train with Shinzo Machida. You need to go and see this black belt. You need to work rear naked choke defense every single day for 8 weeks. Oh my God. We checked every box off for the list. He said, you did everything you had to do. You just didn't get the win.
Just didn't get it that night, right?
You can't fault yourself when you give all your entire effort.
Yes.
When you prepare yourself to the highest for success and you don't reach it, you can't really be that disappointed. That's why I'm not that heartbroken, because I know I did everything I had to do. I just came up a little short that night. And the thing about it is as well, you have to look at it. You have to sit back and look at it. I can sit back and say, you know what? It's not fair, because if I played basketball or I played baseball, I would get to play 3 games a week. And then I lost to Gunnar Nelson. I'm gonna mourn. I'm gonna lick my wounds. I don't get to fight again for 4 more months. It's not fair, because the basketball player, if LeBron James loses and they're like, LeBron's not as good as Jordan, he can come back 2 nights later and have a 50-point game, and all of a sudden LeBron's the best player in the world again.
Right.
That's why our sport is tougher. But when you look at it in perspective, Kenny Johnson was telling me this after the fight. Kenny Johnson was an Olympic alternate. When you try out for the Olympics, you only have 1 shot every 4 years.
Jesus.
Every 4 years. And you know how many times he tried out for that? He lost. 4 years went by. He didn't get it. You know what he did? He tried out again and again and again. And 7 times in a row, Kenny Johnson got back on his feet and tried it. So for 28 years of his life, he said, I'm not giving up. I'm going to continue doing this. And that's what he did. So when you look at things in perspective, man, so what? I lost my fight. It was a huge opportunity. It was against a great guy. But in 3 or 4 months, I can get back in there and I can knock somebody out, and I'm right back on my train again. So when you look at it in perspective like that, it doesn't break my heart as much as you might think.
Good, and I like to hear that. And I do, I hope that you could maybe circle back around and fight again during International Fight Week or something. Would be great.
You have great intuition, Karyn.
I do.
I'm already on the phone with the UFC. By the way, I'm ready to get back into training. I'm not injured from this fight.
Yes.
I was already in talks with Sean Shelby, and we're looking for International Fight Week. So look for me to come back in July in like 4 months.
I mean, I'm hosting a bunch of that stuff for Fox and everything, and it's always good when I get to talk about people that I really like. And by the way, we're both going to be on UFC Now for the next couple shows too. So
do they serve free champagne during International
Fight Week? They really should. They should. We might need to bring it for UFC Now on Thursday. Ken Flo would drink a glass of champagne.
Yeah. But it would probably have to be Cristal.
I mean, Kenny's a little bit highbrow. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. It's like his daddy's a doctor.
But not even Cristal. It might even have to be like
I don't even know.
Perrier-Jouet.
Oh, that's the one with the flowers on it?
Yes.
That's
He's
nice.
a flower.
Yeah, we can't afford that here at MMA Heat. But hey, have some more stuff from Ralph's. But no, I think that's amazing, and you say so much good stuff that I really feel like people can take into their life. Like I love how you're saying, like, you don't have regrets. Like I think that's a worse feeling, is going to a fight, going to your job, going to whatever, and knowing you didn't really do enough to prepare, or that you don't even. You know you were faking, or you know you were phoning it in. Like the fact that you have no regrets about that, I think is a beautiful thing, and I think that's a really fortunate thing, because I don't think everybody has that. You know, everybody's got some little kind of bang up here or there, but you were healthy. You went in. You had a great camp. Like it just wasn't your day that day. I think that's great, and that's when people have a hard time sleeping after they lose a fight, when they know they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
And it would shock you if you realize.
And Gunnar's good.
It shocks me how many fighters have regrets, because they kind of half-assed it during the camp.
Right.
And to me, that's just inconceivable to think, yeah, I'm gonna take the biggest fight of my life and just like only halfway train.
Right.
It's not even an option to me. But it would blow your mind how many fighters are really like that. They don't really train that hard. They're just thinking, let me get to the date, let me get that payday, win or lose. And a lot of fighters are like that. But.
And at the end of the day, again, like you and Mike Perry had bad blood before the fight. I feel like a loss to Mike Perry would have upset you way more than this loss to Gunnar Nelson.
I would not be sleeping at night if I lost to Mike Perry. I can't even talk about him anymore. The funny thing is, I did the press, what do you call that? Like the media scrum in London, and every single question that was asked was like, Mike Perry, about the Mike Perry fight, or like people were blown away by that fight. They were really happy with the way that I performed, but then they were also just wanted to know details about me and Mike Perry and about how the bad beef. And I think I blocked Mike Perry on Twitter, and this will be the last time I talk. About it.
Okay. Sorry to bring it up.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm talking about it, but yeah, I blocked him on Twitter, so I don't even know. But I think somebody told me that he tweeted like, "Stop being a puss and fight already. Stop bringing up my name." But he needs to realize that, like, trust me, I never want to see your name again in my life. But when 20 reporters bring up your name,
you got to answer the question.
You got to answer the question. And so all I was doing was answering the question. But you need to realize that loss to me, bro, that has elevated your career in a way, dude. Like, every reporter is still asking me about that fight. So, yeah, man, it was a good. I'm not even clowning you, but I'm just saying, like, that was a good loss for you because it's kept you relevant. I'm really not trying to throw this.
I know what you're saying. I know you're actually trying to say, hey.
Ever since that fight, everybody that I speak to wants to know about Mike Perry, man. So you got a big opportunity coming up.
So you're welcome, is what you're trying to say.
You're welcome, man. Against Jake Ellenberger, number 12. How do you come off of a loss and get to fight at number 12? I don't know, but anyway, man. Go do your thing, bro. I'm not even hating on you anymore. That's an opportunity for you.
It is. Okay, so there was something else I was going to ask you. This may have made me forget. I love day drinking, though. By the way, like those housewives and stuff that are just like kept women or whatever like that. That's not a bad life. Is it like a really bad life? Like sitting around like shopping and drinking all day? Like is it really that bad?
The Vanderpump Rules. That's my reality show that I watch. I got a bunch of buddies on that show. And like every time they're like, hey, can you come over and talk? How do they have like white wine and champagne on ice and beer like always cold in the fridge? Like, and it's like 10
I got a box of white wine in the other room if you're looking.
They're always drinking. Like I never day drink unless I'm
day drinking.
Speak to a camera.
That's what I'm saying. Right, we do it while we're being held accountable, which is like the worst time to day drink when everybody can call you on it. But no, I feel like, this was a great experience. It's totally win or learn. And I feel like the next dude better look out.
Yeah.
Right?
We're motivated. We're excited. Like I said, trying to fight in International Fight Week. I did a video, sent it to my wife. I didn't post it. She ended up reposting it.
She did. It was really good, though. It was a good video. I'm glad you did that.
I guess it was like, I don't know, I felt emotional to post it at the time, but she reposted it. But one thing I said was, the people that really helped me for this camp, that prepared me, checking the things off of the list.
Yep.
Shinzo, Lyoto Machida, Kevin Casey, Jared Carlson. Your help, it wasn't a waste of time. It made me, you get better during fight camps. You get more tools in your arsenal during the fight camp. You learn new tricks, new ways of doing things, and you put in the reps and the numbers. You get the experience and the confidence from the fight. I didn't win the fight, but I put in a lot of new tricks and polished up a lot of new things in my arsenal from this fight camp. So their time wasn't wasted. I became a better fighter. I just didn't get to show all of those things during the fight. But my next fight, hopefully I'll get to show some of those tricks. It goes my way. I definitely got better. It was an amazing experience. I just didn't get to win. So,
and I do want to talk about some of the other fights that night because I feel like you were able to see some of the ones maybe. But how much did that help you to be with Shinzo and Lyoto? Because I felt like you were comfortable with what Gunnar was showing. Like, I didn't, you know what I mean? Like, some people go out there with him because his style is so tricky and they kind of look like they panic. Like, you landed your own stuff, you were smart, you started to take out the lead leg, you know what I mean? You landed kicks, like you seemed like you understood how to fight him.
It was a tremendous help, man.
Yeah.
I text Lyoto and Shinzo last night letting them know how thankful I was for the help, because Shinzo would hit me with the same damn thing all the time. Shinzo, he just turned 40 years old.
I know, he's good too. He's killing it over at Bellator right now. He's crushing it.
Shinzo, if you don't even know, Machida, there's like 4 brothers.
They don't age, by the way. They're like the most
That's the thing.
beautiful family. And,
he's like a year or 2 older than Lyoto.
Yeah.
He just turned 40. And he's just as quick as ever, man. And he's a 55er.
Yep.
So he's got a little bit of a speed advantage on me. And he hits me with a straight right hand all the time. So I got to see that a lot during training and preparation for this fight. It happened to land on me in the fight, but it helped me tremendously because if I hadn't seen that so much, I probably would have been a lot more flat-footed and not expecting it. I was expecting it. I dodged a couple of them. I didn't dodge that one.
Right.
But yeah, it was a great addition to my camp having him there. I was fortunate to have people like that.
Nice, awesome. 1 cookie down. He's got 3 to go. We're going to see if he can power through these. That's his requirement. I do want to ask about some of the other stuff in the night. I know it was right after your fight, so maybe you didn't get to watch it, but I like Jimi Manuwa. I think he's fun to watch.
It's a beast.
Maybe you saw it after the fact, but to me, with the fact that he laid him out with that left hook, like, you know a dude is powerful when it sort of kind of looks like, because he was sort of kind of almost like a fadeaway.
Yeah, he's kind of
and you know what I mean? It wasn't even a full force, I'm planted and I'm going to wail on you right now. So for me, to see him get a knockout like that, I was just like, oh, damn, my man is powerful.
Manuwa's a beast, man.
Yeah,
I only saw the highlights. I was in the back taking care of stuff after my fight, but I did see the highlights, and Manuwa is, you know what, my manager, not to bring it back to me, but my manager told me this last night, and he said, look, dude, it's a loss, not a big deal. We're going to get back into it. Look at Manuwa. He used as an example.
Yeah.
Manuwa went on like a 2-fight losing streak.
He lost to Alexander Gustafsson, and he lost to Rumble Johnson, right?
2-fight losing streak, and he got knocked out. I mean, he was posterized by 1 or 2 of those guys. And then he goes and he's on a 2 or 3 fight winning streak, and now
dude's gonna challenge for the title. He might get the winner of DC and Rumble.
He's that next guy right now. He's got the credentials, he's got the resume, the winning streak to show it, and he just main evented in London, had put on a great performance. That's our game right now, man. It's just kind of like who's hot and who's not, and he is hot right now, man. And he capitalized on the opportunity that night. He's got that knockout power. He's a big beast of a man.
He is.
I was glad that he wasn't sick. I don't know if you guys all know this, unless you like followed me on stories or whatever, but I posted a little thing the night before the fight, after weigh-ins that night at about 11 o'clock at night. There was a smell. We were all in the lobby having drinks or food. I wasn't drinking, I was eating, but there was a weird smell, and I remember not bringing it up but thinking, man, something stinks, something's burning. Next thing you know, you hear this loud alarm. The entire Hilton hotel in London got evacuated at 11 o'clock at night. We were thrown out into the London cold for over an hour.
That sucks.
And we were getting rushed out of there. I had all my hoodie and everything on because we just went to the store. Manuwa, after weigh-ins at 11 o'clock at night, he was in the training room getting the body going again. So he's rushed downstairs.
Oh no, so he doesn't have a lot of gear on, right?
No shirt on, just some shorts. He was like,
I'm sure the ladies weren't mad, but okay. The help at the hotel's like, okay,
this
cool.
Big beast of a man runs down the stairs. He's just got his MMA shorts on. He's all sweaty from working out, and it's cold outside. No shirt, no hat, no nothing. And they're like, go outside, go outside, go outside.
Right.
He's like trying to like dry off and put on
Right. Yeah. Oh God, you don't want to go out sweaty and then freeze like.
It was cold, man. It was really cold and windy out there, and we were out there, like I said, for over an hour. We were trying to find shelter in the they call it the what do they call the subway over there? The tube. We were trying to find shelter.
Mind the gap.
Out of the wind and everything. The fire.
Was there an actual fire?
They couldn't find it. I think it was an electrical fire somewhere, and it got into the ventilation system, and that's why every single room in the hotel said, man, I smelled something. So there was some type of electrical fire. They couldn't locate it, but it took an hour and a half. We were outside in the freezing cold until after midnight.
Wait, that was the day. That was Friday night.
Friday night.
Right.
On Saturday,
thank God it wasn't Thursday night before you had to weigh in. Like you guys are all like, imagine like that would have sucked if you.
We were all outside. They give you these like aluminum.
Yeah, the little.
By the way, my British people, I've got a bone to pick with you.
Aluminium.
Thank you. Do you know? That doesn't even make sense.
There's no IUM at the end. It's aluminum. It's not aluminium.
Aluminium.
They all say aluminium.
We got into so many arguments on the tube, on the subway system with people. It's aluminum foil, man. It's not aluminium. Aluminium. And what's the other bone I have to pick with you guys?
The lift? The lift is cool. The lift sounds cooler than the elevator.
I'm from Louisiana. It's pecan pie, man. It's pecan pie.
It is pecan, not pecan.
It's not pecan.
I don't like pecan pie either. It's
I've
pecan.
been picking pecans with my grandmother for 35 years. It's pecan pie. I know. Okay, they came out like 35 years.
Thank you for saying that, because I'm from Boston and people speak really kind of odd up there, but I've always said pecan
We use Boston as an example.
instead of pecan. I don't like pecan pie either. I'm with you on the pecans.
Yeah, man. We kept people when we would say aluminum, the entire train would go
Aluminium.
we're like, what do you guys say? They're like aluminium. I'm like,
But no, it's not.
yeah.
It's not. It's aluminum.
Thank you, AJ.
But I
everybody
will
in
say
London.
this. I like the waste paper bin.
Waste paper.
That's
I
way
like
better than trash can.
Yeah, and you know what's
The
funny?
waste paper bin is like bin. I think just the word bin is better than can. Is what it comes down to
You
for
can't
me.
find a trash can or waste paper bin to save your life in London. There's none in sight, and it's because they're like bomb threats and things like that. People
Right?
are hiding, so they
God
got rid of
damn
all the
this
trash
world.
cans.
That's sad.
But yet, London is the cleanest place. I went there with kind of thinking maybe London's dirty just
Right,
because.
right.
You know, it's
The smog. How was the smog?
the smog, the gloominess, stuff like
Right.
that they have. And so I kind of thought in my mind, it's like a dirtier New York. No. Because if you've been to New York, you know that when you walk on the street corner, there's a mountain of trash bags
it's New York.
waiting for the trash, the garbage
Right.
truck to come pick it up. But in London, you don't see a single trash can. You don't see a Coke can on the street.
Right.
But yet there's no trash cans. I don't know who these ninja garbage men are, but they do their shit over there. I don't know how we got on
I
that,
know
but-
that's a really
Aluminum.
interesting. Yes, aluminum. Interesting observation. Because like I said, the last time I went to London was seriously in like.
And it was clean back then?
2000, early 2000s.
Still clean then?
It was okay, but like I noticed
Trash
more
was
of the smog, because I noticed more of that, but everything's relative to LA in terms
Yeah,
of
I know. I
smog.
mean, I don't know how did we get to aluminum?
Just because you were outside of the hotel. Anyway, it does.
Oh, that's what it
regardless.
was. We were
Right.
wearing- So everybody was free.
They gave you the aluminium blanket.
They gave us aluminium blankets to keep us warm. So all of us, there's like 150 people outside.
Arguing whether you're wearing an aluminum blanket or an
50 of them are
aluminium
fighters,
blanket.
And exactly.
Aluminium, aluminum. You're going down tomorrow in the case. Aluminium.
Yeah, exactly. The locals in the. That's funny, man. Yeah, we're all out
That's
there in
hilarious.
aluminium blankets trying to keep.
Well, that's
warm.
what they give you after you run a marathon. I'd never know
Yeah.
because I hate running. Running
Yeah.
is evil. But that's what they give you, after you run a marathon.
I brought a bunch of them home, and
You did?
yeah,
They're good to keep in your car in the glove box
And
for like
to play
emergencies.
superhero with your son, because I tried somewhere on
Cagey Fresh.
Cage. I bought him Cagey Fresh had
Fantastic.
a British police hat, and man, he was like this
fantastic.
new reinvented superhero.
That's
So
fantastic. Good for you.
I had
Good for
those.
you. Good for you.
But yeah,
yes.
that was a crazy thing that happened the night before the fight. It didn't
Which is
affect
nuts.
anyone.
But Jimi Manuwa, to get back to that, yes, I feel like, he fought Rumble before, and I had interviewed Jimmy before this fight, and yeah, he definitely wants that Rumble rematch, which I think he's earned. He won't fight Gus. Now he lost to Gus. They're now training partners.
Exactly.
Gus was in his corner, so he's like, look, I'm not going to fight Gus. But when we talk about that division, Ryan Bader is now officially in Bellator, so he was number 3 or 4, so he is now out of the mix. When you talk about the top of the division, at this point you have Glover Teixeira, who is going to be fighting. Glover's got to fight. I don't remember. But Glover is fighting soon, and Glover actually, Jimmy, that was the whole thing. Jimmy said he actually had been offered Glover several times, and he was saying that Glover was running from him. And so, Glover beat Rashad, and then Glover just won that other fight. And so Glover's still on a roll, but he is getting up there in age. Jimi Manuwa is no spring chicken either, though. He's a little bit older.
He was shot, but he was knocked out convincingly.
Right, but I guess my point is there's room for movement at the top of the light heavyweight division.
Yeah.
And to be honest, Jimmy, I feel like Jimmy is like 38, I want to say, but he is like peaking now. He's a guy who came to the game late. Like he didn't start training MMA till he was older, and so I feel like Jimmy, we're just starting to see the real Jimi Manuwa now. You know what I mean? And I like what I'm seeing. Like the dude is a beast.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with him, getting the winner of. Oh, actually, Gus and Teixeira are fighting. That's the whole
fight.
point. That's the whole point. Yeah. So either the winner of Gus Teixeira or, Jimi now, he's got a great argument for that title fight. I'm going to throw a little bit of a wrench into the mix here and tell you that my boy Gegard Mousasi, we talked to him the other day, former light heavyweight champion at Strikeforce.
What are we hinting at here?
He's fighting his last fight on his UFC contract against Chris Weidman at UFC 210. But Gegard is a guy that I have had conversations about. I'm like, dude, you could go back up and weight. Because the light heavyweight division at the top is aging out. And, Gegard tried to fight DC at UFC 200, and he actually had a contract. And then they didn't do it, and Anderson fought DC instead. When Rumble Johnson needed an opponent in Toronto, Gegard said, I'll do it. And they didn't do it. But I'm just saying he's like this X factor that I've been talking to him. We're like, dude, you could make a run there too. If you don't get a middleweight shot in time, you could do some business here. But my point, I guess, is just that exactly. It's just that Manuwa, I think, is in a great position after that win, and is a dude that I'm expecting even more good things from because he's just doing really well.
Yeah, I totally agree. He's kind of peaking in his career. He's on a hot streak right now. He's in that conversation now.
Yep.
Who's next in line? And
imagine him and Rumble rematching. I'm not saying Rumble is going to beat in DC, but those two throwdown, both of those are the two most powerful guys in the division.
Exactly. Arguably, who's got the better knockout power? One of them might catch the other one first, but they equally have one punch.
I think they're pretty equal. And here's the thing, DC obviously knows what to expect with Rumble, and we know that fight is coming up. That's April 8th, UFC 210. He knows what to expect, and DC is very honest about it. He's like, yeah, Rumble's really freaking powerful, and Rumble got me. He punched me before, but he believes that Rumble has quit in him, and he believes that once again, DC believes that he'll be victorious. My thing is Rumble is sort of an X factor. He fights so quickly, he's able to knock people out. We don't see as much of his improvement. It's almost like he doesn't even have to fight that long to the point where you don't get to see how much better he's gotten. But I gotta believe he got a lot better than the last time he fought DC.
Yeah, I mean, and you forget that, he does have a wrestling background, and he's utilized it before. I mean, obviously, DC's on a whole other level when it comes to grappling.
Of course, come on.
But when you talk about MMA, then the levels change. Everything gets a little bit more equal when it comes to MMA. And he's got good hips and good sprawls and good wrestling defense. He just needs to not... I think that's why DC's kind of capitalizing on it on this hype promo. He's like, you know what? He's the powerful man in striking. I'm the more powerful striker, but the mental advantage is where I'm the man. He says something like that along those lines in the promo. And I think he's saying that because he sees that when he submitted him last time, he took him down a couple times, and Rumble slowly said, you know what? I'm fading. I'm going to give you my back. He gave him that rear choke. He was on all fours, didn't even attempt the defense. And so he sees that maybe Rumble had a little bit of quit in him that night, and he's banking on that to happen again. But Rumble does have a wrestling background. He's been in the game long enough that even if you don't have a wrestling background, when you're in the game for so long, you have MMA wrestling, MMA striking, and he's got good MMA skills. We would think that he's definitely improved. It should be a much more competitive fight.
I think it's going to be a much more competitive fight, but I will say this about DC. You won't break him mentally. Inside the cage, on the wrestling match, but also just outside in his life, the things that man has dealt with, the heartbreak, the worst case scenario, a parent having a child die, that is the worst thing in the world. DC has dealt with that. You won't break him mentally.
I didn't even.
Car act. It's.
What?
I don't want to bring the mood down, but you will not break DC mentally. You just won't. You just won't. Wow. He has seen the worst that the world can give a person. And so I don't think DC has any quit in him. My question is, DC's body is getting a little older, and that to me is the concern. That same night, Brad Pickett had to retire. Not had to retire, but he decided that he was going to retire. Did you interact with Brad at all?
Brad's a great guy.
He's such a good guy, huh?
We shared a locker room. It's funny. We shared a locker room in Sacramento, which is both of our last fights. And then we shared a locker room for this fight, his retirement fight. I felt honored to be in the same locker room with him. He's a good guy, man. He's really just a good guy. He's cool. He brings his dog with him everywhere.
He wears that hat like a freaking champ, too.
He puts on his suspenders.
Yeah, he does. He's got such a good look, and he's one of those people I just have always like enjoyed. He's never a guy in a boring fight. Like he's just like
he blends well with people. You know, he's like a British London guy or whatever, wherever he's from. But like, and I'm from Louisiana. But like our first interaction, we were just like chatting like we were buddies. You know, he's just a really cool guy, and he had like a camera crew following him around the entire week, and like we kind of kept crossing paths and stuff. But yeah, man, I would have liked to see him.
It would have been great if he got the win.
Get a win. But he didn't get it. But I told him after the fight, man, like I'm glad to have fought on the same card with you a number of times. I'm glad to been able to experience your career because I've been watching you before I was in the UFC.
So fun.
And he's a great guy, man. Hopefully he has a great post-fight career as well. His opponent, who beat him that night,
Marlon Vera.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that his name?
Marlon Vera.
That beat Brad Pickett. Yeah. I'm sorry I'm forgetting your name. He's like a 10th Planet guy, and we chatted all the time. It's just I was in my zone and everything. But you talk about opportunities. He took this fight on
super short notice. 1 week
notice.
Yeah.
Takes a fight in London against Brad Pickett on 1 week notice. Wasn't really even training that much. He wasn't able to make the weight. The night before, me and Brad were cutting weight, and Brad came back and said, we're supposed to fight at 135, right?
Right.
And his opponent asked for a 140 catch weight. Brad said, shit, I had 5 pounds to go anyway, so he agreed to it. So
why wouldn't you say yes?
Yeah, so he couldn't make the weight, but it wasn't his fault. It was a 1 week notice. But I'm saying, you come in to London on a 1 week notice fighting Brad Pickett, the O2 Arena. On the main card, he was, I think, the Coco. The Coco.
And
he was. He knocks out Brad Pickett with the head kick and gets a bonus. I mean, you talk about making a good decision in life.
Hashtag baller. Yeah, like that's
it, man.
That's
when life gives you opportunities. I always tell this to people,
right.
You take the freaking opportunity, you figure the rest out later. Unless they're saying, give me all your money for this investment, then you do the details.
No, you do. Well, no, but that's how we feel like with Bisping. That whole the fact that he beat Luke on 10 days' notice.
He said, I'm not fighting Luke Rockhold on 10 days. Well, my next opportunity. Yeah.
Right, and Mike is literally in Toronto filming a movie, and literally he's been in the UFC for 10 years or something. Yeah, dig in. And gets to the point where he's like, finally gets the title shot that he's been chasing for years. But he gets the title shot on 10 days' notice. Like, in a way, it's the best thing he can ask for in the worst possible situation. Like, to not be able to even really super train for the biggest fight of your life. Rolls in there like a freaking baller and just takes it. Like, I love that. And that, to me, no offense to Luke, and Luke is going to be on UFC tonight with us. I have no issues with Luke. I'm just saying, that's freaking beautiful to go in there and do that.
Who will be hosting that night?
I know. Because DC's away because he is training. So last week we had Mike in with us, but tomorrow's going to be Tyron.
Okay, so
yeah. So it's not Luke. Yeah, it's me, Kenny, and Tyron. It's not because I thought the same thing. Because last week I was like, oh, Mike's going to be in with Luke. But I'm really curious about what's going on with Luke because he's been MIA. I mean, you see him on social media. He's traveling the world.
This guy travels the freaking world, man.
I mean, if you're Luke Rockhold, I don't think life is bad.
He's pretty good. He's almost like the Dan Bilzerian of the MMA world. I feel like he's got all these girls and jets and shit going on.
I don't think Luke is suffering.
He's doing pretty good.
I don't think
feel bad for him.
Suffering. I don't cry any tears for Luke Rockhold. But yeah, I think it's going to be. It'll be fun to hear from him, to catch up with him. It kind of would have been more fun if Mike was in, just because Mike is an a-hole, and I mean that in the best sense of the word, where he would have just gone at Luke nonstop, and it would have been really hilarious. But yeah, I'm curious when Luke is expecting to get back in, because he's been away for a long time, and obviously, as we know, as I mentioned, Chris Weidman and Gegard are fighting at UFC 210 on the co-main event. But in terms of the middleweight division, Gegard is going to be fighting Robert Whitaker, which is a great fight.
Oh, was that made?
Yeah, that's made. I like that fight. I like that fight. But Yoel Romero is sort of the guy standing around without a dance partner. It's interesting at the top of the division, and I do implore you guys to please do check out the interview I put out with Gegard. Everybody knows that, like, he's kind of one of my favorite guys. We've known Gegard for, at this point now, like 10 years or something. Always been one of my favorite guys. Always gives us great interviews, and I'm tooting my own horn here a little bit, Alan, but we get the best interviews with Gegard because we've known him the longest. Like,
it's a rapport.
It's a trust thing, and way back when we knew how good he was. Like, people are just coming around. They're like, oh, this Mousasi guy. He's
new,
like,
right?
Yeah, he's new. He's got like 60 fights. So I take credit. We've known how good he is for some time, and now he's more outspoken, and so it's really fun
you
for
probably
me.
Help mold this.
I think so.
Mousasi,
I think so. And to me, it's really fun to see him embracing the spotlight a little bit more. But anyways, really, really, really important fight with Chris Weidman, who is very dangerous. I know he's lost a couple in a row, but you can't discount a former champion. Chris Weidman is still very, 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 very dangerous. So I have interviews with both of these guys. Chris, I talked to closer to when the fight had initially been announced, and Gegard I just spoke to yesterday. But yeah, the middleweight division, there's a lot going on there, and I feel like the things that are going to get resolved from this are going to be really quite interesting. So
I thought I saw another interesting fight. What's his name? The guy Kelly or something? Dad bod?
No, Daniel Kelly, who beat Sugar, right?
Who did he just sign a contract against?
Oh, did he find?
He's got a big fight coming up.
Does he really? Well, shoot.
I don't remember what it was, but it was another big name.
Well, Anderson's fighting Kelvin. Vitor needs a fight.
Derek Brunson, I believe.
Oh, that's a good fight.
Brunson versus Kelly.
Right, because Brunson lost to Robert Whitaker because Derek fought kind of a little annoying.
Yeah,
I mean, let's be honest. He went a little crazy. But in his defense, he said because he felt like he needed to have a quote-unquote exciting fight. Mm-hmm. So he was a little bit reckless against Whitaker. I think that Derek Brunson is way better than that performance. Yeah. Way better than that.
And he's proven that style, although you look at it and say, why did he fight like that?
Right.
He does it.
It's worked in the past.
It's worked in the past. I mean, he's done it against
for sure
phenomenal strikers like Uriah Hall.
Yep.
He's done it, and he's had success with it. He just didn't work out that night. But that Dad bod is slowly climbing the division, man.
Okay,
I mean, like,
but the next dude, Derek, go for the knees.
Oh my God.
No offense, Dad bod, Dan Kelly, but for the love of God,
if you're not taking
those sweet,
and you're not kicking him in the damn knee,
what are you doing?
You're out of your mind.
Why would you not fight?
The guy says it. He
said that his leg is trash.
His post-fight speech, he goes, "Look, my knee is like gone. As long as I could tape it up heavily and wear a band over it, I'll fight anybody." So he's pretty much telling you like he's got like a torn meniscus.
He has zero going on. Like there's zero support save for the tape.
Yeah, you got to be kicking that leg out.
How do you?
I'm not rooting against him. I'm just saying like if somebody comes out and says I had this big blinking injury, but nobody seems to hit it, so I'm just going to keep fighting and climb my way up the division.
For the same reason, people can land certain punches on Michael Bisping because we all know his vision is compromised on one side. For the same reason that you know you can land that punch.
Why would you not?
Why would you not take out Daniel Kelly's knees?
Yeah, so we'll see.
I don't understand.
We will take bets.
We will take bets. Okay, so last thing I want to ask you about, Alan, they announced Wanderlei Silva will fight Chael Sonnen.
Holy shit, yeah.
Okay, that's
crazy.
That's what I want to know is what's your reaction.
I didn't know the Legends League got made. I thought it was just something that Vitor was talking about.
Ouch, burn.
Yeah, it's funny, man.
Yeah, what's your take on that?
I will definitely be watching.
Right? I got Vandy in this fight. As much as I freaking love Chael. I mean, maybe not, though. Chael... Well, it depends. Chael could submit him fast. Like, Chael could pounce on him like he did with Shogun and get in there fast.
Chael's a hit-or-miss guy, man.
I know.
Yeah, it depends what Chael we're looking at.
And the thing is, I feel like the only reason I say like Chael could sink that choke in. I know I said initially that I got Vandy, but I'm still thinking axe murderer. But the question is, we've seen Chael more recently than we've seen Wanderlei.
Yeah.
Wanderlei in his prime, ridiculously scary.
How long has this been?
But it's been right. It was 3 years for Chael before he fought Tito. For Wanderlei now, it's a long time. Yeah. You know, but he's so fun. I love watching Wanderlei fight. I love watching him fight so much. And if we get the old Vandy, then Chael should look out. But I feel like Chael does have that option, like he did to Shogun, to get in there and get a quick choke before guys get too slippery and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I haven't analyzed this fight. I can't think about.
Nor have I haven't really broken it down. Yeah. It's just like a what the F.
But for some reason, this fight, it's not so much a Royce Gracie, Ken Shamrock Bellator where like, okay, these guys are freaking like grandpas now.
Right.
This fight still is intriguing.
Oh, they're
to me
still in fit.
because there's still
fit.
beef, and both of these guys are just so stubborn and smart at the same time that I just want to see him go in there and just go to war. So it's a really good match. Good for Bellator for getting this fight on the card. I think it'll put a lot of eyes on them.
So all over watching that fight.
Absolutely.
I'm so all over. And now we know too that we may get Ryan Bader versus Phil Davis. Like now that Ryan is officially over there, I think Ryan could do very well. I mean, Phil is getting really good, and Phil is improving. But yeah, I think Phil versus Ryan is going to be a hot fight over there.
Bellator has slowly. Their welterweight and their light heavyweight division have slowly been put on the map. I mean, the guys that they have in both of those divisions now, the top 5, top 10 of those divisions are very strong now. And some of their other divisions, I probably couldn't name a single person, but their welterweight and their 205ers, man, they have some really good guys.
They're doing well. They're doing well. All right, awesome. Well, you have 2 cookies left, so you didn't do badly. And folks, we should say again, like, so it's 2 down. I mean, these were
They're not like Oreos.
No, wait, no, they're big. They're hearty cookies. But again, so here's the thing, Alan, I think we killed it.
But yeah, we killed the champagne.
So there's one thing that I have learned, and anybody out there, I know you're a parent and a lot of parents out there, you don't always win. But that doesn't mean you don't deserve a participation medal.
Oh my goodness.
So Alan...
Am I getting a participation medal on MMA Heat?
You're a star.
Wait.
You're a star. I just want to bestow this upon you because even though you didn't win the fight, we think you're awesome, and we can't say enough positive things about you. We know you're going to come back better than ever, but you participated, and we just want to acknowledge that that you showed up that day. And that you're a kind of a winner. Just participation medals all around. So congratulations to you.
Where'd you guys get this from?
It's mini me's.
Okay. Thank you for my participation medal. As a parent and a competitive parent, I don't believe in participation medals. You got to give 110% every freaking time, or you don't deserve no damn medal. I did give 110%, but for you parents out there that are just jump on the field. It doesn't matter if you kick the ball or not.
It matters.
You got to go after it, man. That's what I'm preaching to my son. So I appreciate it. What are you wearing? You wearing some diamonds? I'm wearing some.
This is from the fashion district downtown. This was like $4.
21.
No, it's like $4. Let me tell you, the jewelry district is amazing downtown.
ASOS. That's the one my wife does.
AYSO, American Youth Soccer Organization. AYSO.
No, I'm about where you buy clothes. It's called ASOS.
Oh, yeah. No, she showed me a really cute dress. No. It's a really cute dress. She did. That she wore to Kenny's wedding that time was really nice. I don't know.
Oh, somebody's not going to...
We need to wrap it up. So congratulations on participating in UFC London.
I don't know what that means, but thank you.
But no, all kidding aside, the next dude better look out.
Don't make up for it. It's too late. It's too late now.
You're a star.
I'm gonna bring you a plaque. Damn it. Big
Alan, I know your social media numbers probably blew up after last week. So where can people find you?
I'm pushing over 1,000 followers now. So if you want to be 1,001, give me a follow. Nothing's changed, guys. Check me out at Alan Jouban everywhere. Man, I feel like there was something.
There was something else. So we're doing UFC now this week together.
We're doing UFC now, so check that out. We'll be on that.
That's going to be a real stretch trying to get along with you and Kenny Florian. Woo!
If only us three can get to know each other and be able to work together. We'll see what happens. I know. I just want to give a little shout out to my new sponsor, New Breed Nutrition. They jumped on board with me before this fight, and we're going to do some great things together. So if you haven't checked them out yet, New Breed Nutrition, give them a check out, a follow. Check them out.
Nice, awesome. Okay, so on Twitter you can find me at Karyn Bryant, on YouTube Karyn Bryant, on Facebook I have Karyn Bryant, but also our dog loves you so much. She's freaking out that she's not out here right now. You can
right?
Yeah. MMAheat.com, obviously, where we have lots of stuff. But on Instagram, KB Heat. I don't even know. Now I'm confused. I love a good champagne podcast, Alan.
Me too. Champagne and cookies all day, every
Awesome.
day.
All right. Well, thanks so much for watching, you guys, and we'll see you next time.
These guys. What is this? Is this even real gold, Karyn? I mean, is this... Where'd you get this from? 99? Oh my goodness.